Hey there, welcome to the Impatient Entrepreneur Podcast, a show where we hear from entrepreneurs and business owners who are chomping at the bit to make their mark on the world. I'm your host, Lauren Quidar-Cockrell. Now, let's hurry up and get to the good stuff. Hey friends, welcome back. I have Ethan Dowie with me here today, founder of Indigo Promotions, and I'm really excited to hear from Ethan. He works with really amazing companies, and I can't wait to dig in, hear about his journey, and just talk about how he's doing things a little bit differently. So Ethan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here, Lauren. I'm so excited.
Likewise. Okay. So Ethan, tell us a little bit about your business, what you do, and also some background to the genesis of the business. Like how did you even get here?
So at Indigo, we create all types of unique branded merchandise. I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's for some large scale event that our client is hosting. And people typically come to us when they don't want just a general piece of merchandise that's going to be forgotten about or thrown out when they're done, their clients or employees are done with an event. They want something that's going to leave a lasting impression, that's actually going to be impactful. That's really where we've made a dent in this market, coming up with and brainstorming product ideas that are really going to fit the bill there. And that's almost always what our clients are coming to us for. And like anyone in the merch industry, you're going to get this answer 10 out of 10 times. They always end up in this industry by accident. And that same thing happened to me. My whole claim to fame, if you will, was, I was responsible for ordering a lot of this stuff, the gear, the swag, the merch, whatever you want to call it, at a past company. And it never was an easy process. It was always just complicated. Whatever vendor we were dealing with, whoever we were talking to, the customer service sucked. The products, when they arrived, weren't even that good. And we were paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I really just thought to myself, I feel like I can do a better job. And I think these people are making good money from us. And I'm sure tons of other people as well. And I just dove in head first, had no experience in merch whatsoever, and just kind of figured it out along the way.
Okay. Well, I want to dig more into that, but let me go ahead and get the first official question out of the way. Ethan, are you an impatient entrepreneur?
I unfortunately am very impatient, and I feel like it's just the entrepreneur's curse. I don't know how to not be, but I definitely can drive my team up a wall a lot of times because of that. And, it's definitely something that I have worked on over the years of running Indigo for sure, just to make sure that I don't drive my team crazy and make them all quit.
So felt. So when you started Indigo, were you were at a corporation at that time and you were like, you know what, there's a better way to skin this cat. I'm just going to launch into it.
Yeah, so my first business was a nonprofit where I basically just held sporting events and then donated the money to kids with cancer. So that was my first business in college. And even then I was ordering a lot of merch to promote my nonprofit. And then out of college, I worked for a nonprofit where I also ordered merch. So I was kind of getting a little bit of experience working in the industry and just like understanding the lingo and what to say to people to get product and whatnot. And then that's really where I saw all of the mistakes and errors and the inefficiency in merch. And that's really where I just came up with the idea of, all right, I got to start something that fixes all the problems that I'm seeing.
Right. Yeah. And I think, for my generation and younger also, it's like, I'm sick of getting stuff that's just like trash, like literally I don't want, A, I don't want it for myself, but B, I don't want to then throw it away and it's in it's landfill and all that. So I'd rather just do nothing as a business owner. I'd rather do nothing at all than have something that's not a good quality. So are you then how are you solving this problem?
Well, that I love that question because number one, it's not that type of merch or swag that you described is bad. It's just not for everybody. Like there are people that come to us and they're like, hey, my audience is X and this is the stuff I want because they like it. And I'm like, oh, sure, you're good. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And in those situations, I think the inefficiencies came from vendors not asking the proper questions. If I just went with it and said, hey, yeah, we're going to make you a stress ball, we're going to make you a pen right off the bat, that's not what people want to be led with. You have to come up with stuff that might work for their actual end users. And I think that's where that's what's turning into the Indigo way. It's just figuring out exactly what is meant for the people ordering from us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. So I know because we spoke previously that you have some really cool clients. First of all, like share whatever you're comfortable sharing, but then, how did that become, how did you build that roster of, prestige clients?
Well, so year one in when I was in this industry and started my business, it was just about learning. I had no, we didn't have anything. Literally, it was just me in a supply closet, just figuring it out. And we didn't have any client roster. I didn't have any vendors. I didn't have any employees. It was just me. So my thought process was, okay, what do I like to do? I like to talk to people. And I'm basically going to cold call as many big companies as I can until I start to like understand what gets me further in the call.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not even kidding. I called 496 places,
Wow.
probably in like maybe a month or a
Oh my
month and a half. And mind you, this, I know it might not sound like a ton to people,
No, it sounds like a
who are
lot.
cold callers, but keep in mind, this is also me like scraping data, finding their info and finding a number off of a website. And like, I'm not using any advanced thing like Apollo or Zoom Info or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a while and I really wasn't having any luck. Like people would curse at me, people would hang up on me, they weren't interested. And I'm just like, what the heck am I doing wrong here? And then on the 496 call, I called Zappos.com.
Oh, wow.
And very fortunately for me, I got a very nice woman on the phone and she put me through to the buyer. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to this buyer of $1 billion corporation.
Wow.
And they let me into their world. And that was my first big client. And I was so fortunate to have them because they understood that I wasn't this guy with 30 years experience in here. And I knew exactly what to do for every project or event they're working on. But they knew that I was going to work hard and was willing to stay up till 5 a.m. figuring out their project. And that alone won me the account. And we still have that account to this day and service them with merch. And I think that was really the biggest win for me because once we had Zappos, we were able to use them as leverage to get bigger names in the door. And since then, we've worked with MAC Cosmetics, we've worked with Google, Estee Lauder, Bloomberg, Boston Beer, Vox Media, just so many household names. And I feel like after every project we do, my whole team gets better, I get better, and we all get more knowledgeable. So I love working with people of that size because there are so many complexities that come up that really educate us on the spot, and we're just always learning.
Wow. I'm still shook from how many calls you made. Just the persistence and the grit and self-belief. Like so many people would have quit before that. But honestly, that's what success is, particularly in business, is not that you didn't make it the 495 calls beforehand, but that you made the 496th call. I mean, that's just really, really impressive.
I appreciate it. And I learned so much from every call. I mean, I felt like I would get further and further after like each call. I'd be like, okay, I made it 2 minutes in and we talked about this. And although it wasn't leading anywhere, I do feel like my knowledge went out. Like I still think about those calls when I'm talking on the phone with people.
A part of me dies inside just thinking. So kudos to you. Like, oh wow, okay. I feel like I've done some hard things. That feels like almost insurmountable to me. Okay, so I have to ask, what's your favorite piece of merch or swag that you've created for a client?
It's a tough question. If I'm going off of 2025, we have done some really cool projects for MGM Grand in Vegas.
Cool.
And I think the one that tops them all, just because of how complicated it was and how long it took to do, they are having a slot tournament. It was called their $5 million slot tournament, where they wanted to give their VIP guest just these amazing high-end premium gifts, and they landed on custom charms that were going to be made out of sterling silver, which is a precious metal.
Mhm.
And where it got complicated was not only did they want that part engraved on both the front and the back, they also wanted a real diamond to be set onto the charm. So
Wow.
then all of a sudden it gets very complicated because one, we have to prove that the diamond is real. We can't just give them a random charm.
Mhm.
And two, we have to make sure that we can get everything in time to achieve their in-hand state, which was within a month. So all of that, and it's easy for them to say, hey, we want this, we want that. The real trouble is just sourcing it all in the back end.
Mhm.
Because in this case, we're not making anything in-house. We're using our trusted factories, both in the United States and overseas. So for me, it was just coordinating everything to arrive at certain times and make sure that no material combo was going to be a problem with one another. And once we were able to finish that, I mean, I could send you a picture of what it looked like
I'd love to see
afterwards. It just
it.
came out so beautifully, and it was so complicated that it was the first time I feel like all year that I had been really challenged to the point where I was like, ooh, did I officially bite off more than I can chew here? And
Yeah.
luckily we pulled it off, but
Yeah.
that alone was just a really cool project.
There is a moment, from time to time, and honestly, if you're growing and stretching, you should feel this way, where it's just like, "Oop, am I out in front of my skis? Do I know how to do this? I'm gonna figure it out." Okay, so is there anything in particular that you're impatient about right now?
I think when you're at the size of company that we're at right now, which is just under 10 employees, and we're growing like crazy, and everybody is expanding among what their like actual role is on the team.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think just managing people is a whole different challenge for small business owners because you're not really like, that's not what you had success in. Like, that's not what I was good at from the jump. Like, I was good at talking to people and like
Mhm.
working on complex projects. I wasn't, built to be this manager of people. So that's really something that not only I had to learn over time of just how to talk to employees and how to make a cool team environment for everybody, but also just to know that like everyone is working hard. And, if I ask for something, it sometimes can't be done in 5 minutes, which really for me is the biggest challenge because when I ask for something, I'm just like, yeah, get it. Come on, hurry up. It's 9 o'clock, but come on, hurry up. What are you doing? So I
Mhm.
think that's always something that just I am super, super impatient on.
Yeah. How has your role evolved since starting the company?
Well, I realized early on that when you're working on a lot of these complex projects, and like we might have anywhere from 50 to 200 projects happening at once.
Wow.
And that's a lot. Like that
Yeah.
that is not a like for a small team like ours, that
Mhm.
is a lot for
It
sure.
is. Mhm.
And it can get very overwhelming very fast.
Mhm.
So for us, and one thing that I realized very early in the early years was I can't do everything myself.
Mhm.
You can try to, run around like a chicken with his head cut off, and sometimes it'll work and you can really just push it through with pure grit. But I just have learned how to buy back my time and how to really delegate well so that my whole team is educated on how to do more complicated things. There's
Mhm.
stuff that gets so complicated with us, and it could take forever to go down the rabbit hole of
Yeah.
explaining it, but
Mhm.
I think that always was my biggest problem early on, that I
Yeah.
thought I could handle more than I could. And it really just became a game of, okay, yes, I could technically handle it, but how do I teach somebody how to do it instead?
Right.
And that's really just been my focus for the last year of not only doing the tasks that I'm working on, and whether it's a really cool project for Zappos or a really
Mhm.
cool project for MGM, it's also showing it to my team of like, hey, this is why I'm doing things this way. So now
Mhm.
you can do it next time. And
Yeah.
I think just having that switch in mindset has really allowed me to grow into a different role at Indigo, and also teach my team how to be just as good as me, if not better,
Mhm.
from doing it from themselves.
Right. How do you see it evolving further in the next year or two? Do you eventually feel like you'll set aside client relationships or those projects, or do you think you always have a hand in that, or at least for the near term?
I think in the near term, I will always have a hand in the larger event projects, because that is truly what I find fun. Like I call it my genius zone, and I think everybody has a genius zone that they need to stay within. I love going back and forth with clients and really figuring out all the complexities that a project is involved with. And then when it gets to a certain point, I like to hand it off. So I think I can stay in that role really for a while now, of just going back and forth with the client and understanding the type of merch that they want, and really understanding the psychology behind why they want that exact merch. That is what I love to do. I absolutely love that. I love figuring out what technology we can pair with merchandise and what makes the most sense for them. And I think from here on out, though, it's bringing in more people who are as passionate about merch and just about the business, in general. And I think the more people we have along our side, the easier it will be for us to scale and grow, which really is just the next step. It's getting myself help and getting my team help so we can handle more projects. I'd mentioned 50 to 150 or 50 to 200 projects happening at once. If we got more than that, it could potentially become a problem. And you never want that. You always want to be able to handle exactly what you're working with and what you're chewing on, if you will. So it's really just figuring out a way to bring more great people into the team.
Yeah. Someone once told me more businesses die of indigestion than starvation.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like, it's something. It's like you're scaling, and then also like you don't want to just grow where you're growing your bottom line as well as your top line. Like you want to figure out that sweet spot of scaling.
Absolutely.
So are there any, how do you fuel yourself as a leader? Are you a reader? Do you listen to podcasts? Are you going to conferences? Like, how do you make sure that you're investing in yourself so that you can be the best leader possible for your team and your clients?
I love to learn. Like I'm never not learning. And I think that's why we've had such growth so fast, because I look at it as, if I ever stop investing in my personal growth, I just feel like the team just dies. Like you're only going backwards if that's the case. And I'm just such a fan of always having a book to read, and I think the important thing for me and something that a lot of people can learn is that it doesn't always have to be relevant learning.
Sure.
Sometimes it's just nice to learn a new topic. And I think I have found that it always comes up later on, whether it's merch related or business related or just something with cooking. Like it doesn't even matter the topic. I feel like it has somehow come up, whether it's something that I learned that I can use in conversation with a client or something that actually comes up merch wise. I love to learn. I love to read. And I always have something going on kind of on the back burners that maybe is a podcast I could throw on when I'm driving to work, or a book that I'm excited to get to when I have free time. I think it's super important. And I think it might be just a pure entrepreneur trait, but I just love learning like that. Like that's just something that I will always be grateful for, because I think it's made me into the businessman that I am today.
I would say, I think of all the successful entrepreneurs I've ever met, I haven't met one who's been like, man, I'm done learning.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, you need that. Because what is it, for your industry, what does it say if you just get to the point where you're just like, all right, I'm good. Yeah. Like I've learned it all. Like your business just has begun dying is really the way I look at it.
Right. If you're not growing, you're dying. So have there been any books in particular that have been especially transformative to you in your journey?
I have oh my gosh, how long it got. I have so many.
Top three.
Top three. I think one that I read a while ago when I had first started Indigo was Shoe Dog, the Nike memoir. And that one I freaking loved, because it showed a company that literally started with two people. And it showed where if you can envision something, and if you get on a trend or just, something that's happening at the right time and you really leverage it, you can grow your business to any size. And that small company with 1 to 2 people starting off has grown into something insane. And I loved hearing all the little stories that would have never been told otherwise. And that was a really, really fun one. That was kind of like my beginner's entrepreneur guide, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love a founder story. I mean, I remember like Michael Dell's sticks out to me. It's so fascinating. These brilliant people building these huge businesses. I mean, I don't know that that's what I see for myself necessarily, but it's also just like I can find some corollary in here that is inspiring. And I consider myself to be a honeybee. I'm cross pollinating ideas in across industries and clients, and I love it.
I think just learning about entrepreneurs as well. Like I love the Steve Jobs not documentary, but biography by Walter Isaacson, and that was just one where you just learn about these entrepreneurs and you're just like, there's a reason why this person is so special. Like you can feel it in the writing. And I think that's something that just motivates me and just gives me more of a passion for what I do. Just being someone who just has this standard and just you refuse to compromise on it. And you look crazy and mental to people on the outside, but you get it. And as long as you get it, then that's the important part.
Right. Yeah. As long as you know where you're going. Is there anything that you're creating right now? Like, anything that's coming up that you're excited to be rolling out?
I think one huge thing is that we're redoing our website, and our website right now, it's almost like anytime I talk about it, I'm embarrassed to speak on it.
Please don't go there.
So, yeah, please don't go to indigopromos.com. But that's one thing that we're launching. It should be in about a week or a week and a half.
Okay, so it'll be live by the time this is out.
Yeah, for sure. And just getting that relaunched was such a huge box to check for us because if you want to be known as the gold standard of merchandise, you have to have a level of standard for everything you do. Right. And, that was just one thing that hadn't been updated in so long. So having that updated will definitely be a big deal for us. Project wise, just a couple of projects that we had done a couple of months ago for the US Open. Really that's just one that comes up that I still feel such a sense of completion, if you will. And we do have a few more events like that are upcoming that we're really excited to finish up.
Amazing. I'm just so proud of you for this business. I'm like, I don't know why I'm very invested in your success.
I love it. I appreciate it.
Like, wow, that's so cool. Okay, so switching gears. So on your journey, what's something that's happened where you've been going along, you're doing great, you're like, heck yes, nothing can defeat me, and then the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, and you think, well, never mind. I don't know if we're going to survive this. But ultimately, it turns out to be one of the best things that could have happened to you.
I think early on, remember, we didn't know anything like what we were doing at all. And and I think my mantra for Indigo has always been bite off more than we can chew. And I will do that till the day I die because it just leads to so much growth. And early on, we had a few clients and pretty much all at once of the bigger scale come to us and really mention things that they weren't happy with. And it just was basically small business problems because that is all I could relate it to. It was nothing I knew. It caught me completely off guard. And it kind of put us we came to a point where it was almost like we were going to lose a ton of accounts just in the blink of an eye. We go from we're riding this wave and doing so good to, nobody wants to work with us anymore. And really, we took all of their feedback and said, look, give me a month. And we fixed every single thing that they noted. And why that was so special for us is because it showed our clients, one, we really care here. Like, we're not just taking your feedback and going, hey, we hear you, but we're not doing anything about it. We heard them and then we implemented it. And I think that showed a lot of them that we have such a level of care for their business that we're willing to do whatever it takes to keep them happy. And it led to us just improving our business in general too for future people that ordered from us. So that was a couple of years ago. And I think that was something that will always be a good lesson for don't let your highs be too high, and don't let your lows be too low, because
Yeah.
I think we got very comfortable with where we were at, and it was just a reminder and a nice kick in the butt of, hey, you got to stay learning and you got to always be improving so that people don't want to leave you like that.
Right. And I mean, what jumps out to me is like, A, you got that feedback rather than just leaving. So obviously you had the rapport and relationship and partnership that they even spoke to you, which is great. And then two, that you had the humility to receive it. Cause I think sometimes people are like, hey, I didn't like love this experience. And they like push your feedback away. You're like, all right, well, I guess I'll just go someplace else.
100%. Yeah. And I think that's something that just in customer service in general, because that entering the industry was my biggest thing. I just thought to myself, well, I don't know as much as people, but nobody's going to be nicer to these people than me. And I just love that. I think that is how small businesses grow. And every time I'm talking to a smaller company and it doesn't give me that feeling, I'm like, you guys are missing, you guys don't get it. Like, you're missing the point. Like, this is something that has to be checked off here because you don't have other things that bigger companies have.
Right. Oh man, I'll climb up on that soapbox with you. Okay. So, when you were a kid, first of all, were you an entrepreneur when you were little? Did you have a lemonade stand or a bike route or anything? Or paper route?
A bit, I was a big eBay guy. So me and my family would always be finding this random dirt products to try to sell on eBay that never worked. But I think I really got bit with the business bug in college. And I was very fortunate to take a class called ENT 100 by a wonderful professor named Dr. Lee Zane. And I really wasn't into business until that class. My whole mission up until college and really my whole life was to qualify for the Olympics in track.
Oh,
that was
cool.
my only goal. And, I think when I got to college and took that class, I started realizing that there could be more to life than track and field. And I really thank, him every year, because I think the stuff that we learned there and just like the cool case studies we did really got my mind going and really brought my brain to the next level business wise.
That's so beautiful. Where'd you go to college?
Rider University.
Where's that?
It's in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, right next to Princeton.
Okay. Very cool. Are you still tracking and fielding?
I still compete, but not in the event that I was trying to qualify for the Olympics for.
Wow. Flat shift.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So, when you were growing up, was there a personality trait of yours that people were like, Ethan, you're going to need to work on this, or you just kind of like perceived in the ether that it was a weakness of yours, but now as a leader of this growing company, you realized it was actually your superpower?
I don't know if it would be my superpower, but I definitely was anytime in school, high school, middle school, elementary school, I really had trouble with authoritative figures in a lot of ways. I really did not enjoy not being the one, like, kind of not telling people what to do, but just taking commands from people that I didn't necessarily have a good relationship with. That was always troublesome for me. In every single grade I could remember, I have so many memories of just thinking like, man, why is this person telling me what to do? And it's the teacher. Like, obviously they're going to tell me what to do. And I don't know if that necessarily became a strength, but I think when it came time to be able to lead, I was very excited to be in a position where I could have a team and do things the right way, not command people, but get people on the same page and aligned so that when they were doing something for Indigo, they felt like it was a win for themselves personally too. And I just felt like that was what was always missing for me in my childhood, because it was just do this and do what you're told versus do this and here's why.
Yeah. So it turned out to be a superpower.
Yeah.
We got there. Okay. So what's a piece of advice you can leave our listeners with to make their lives and businesses better today?
I think one thing that I wish somebody told me at the beginning of my company, and even now as well, is just as a good reminder, is a lot of things start in a place that they're not going to finish. And what I mean by that is when I was starting Indigo, I had all of these perceived ways of how it would go and where we would be in 2 years and what it would grow into. And they were all dead wrong. They were completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
But I really just kept the vision the same, but became very flexible on the details. And I think that's something that people need to learn a lot of times, is that you could be firm on what you believe and where you want to get to, but sometimes the route that you're taking isn't always the best path. And that's always something that I remind myself, that just because something is different than I intended it to be doesn't mean that it is wrong. And it really could just be a random stop along the way, or a random turn along the way that eventually will get me back on the proper path.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom there. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's kind of like, when I feel like a lot of heartbreak in anything is related to our expectations. Like if we have certain expectations and they don't pan out, but if we kind of release ourselves from that and just be like, here's where I'm trying to go, and I'm, going to get there eventually, versus like how exactly it's going to look or and taste and feel and all that. And I'm going to take these exact steps, then, that does, you get more distracted by how it's not going than how it is going.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's just, for any seasoned entrepreneur, every year you just see that more and more, where it's like, oh, I had no idea this was going to happen, but I guess I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Right. It's like, release yourself from the journey. just go. Okay. So let's wrap up here. By the time this is live, your website will be up and running. So we will be free to visit your website. So tell us, where can we find you?
Yeah. So for everybody that is looking to work on merch or see cool case studies that we've done before and just learn from those, you can find us at www.indigopromos.com. And for anybody that would like help with their merch, you can find me on social medias. Instagram and LinkedIn are my two main ones, at Ethan Dowie. And for anybody who needs help with their merch, I'm offering a free 15-minute consultation to anyone that listens to this podcast. Just message me Impatient, and then I will hop on with you.
Amazing. Thank you for that. We'll put that in the show notes too. Ethan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Lauren. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to The Impatient Entrepreneur. Love the podcast? Be sure to share it with a friend or colleague, or give us a 5-star review on Apple. You can also chat with us on Instagram or Facebook at The Impatient Entrepreneur Pod. Want to star on a future episode? Head over to theimpatientrepreneur.com to inquire. Thank you to the team at Quidar & Co. for believing in me and bringing this podcast to life. And thank you to Carson Childers for mixing and editing this episode. Can't wait to see you next time.